All right, let's go over some back testing, right? I'm just gonna start off where I left off. Okay, right? Focusing on daily bias. Let's see, is this Friday? What day is this? I just need to make sure I have my notes right. Sorry. What is this? The 30th? Okay. And then we are at 1 o'clock, so we're just gonna go to the next session. If I can find my pen, maybe. No. All right, well, start again. Okay. So let's see. This is 5 o'clock. All right. I'm going to go forward until about 8 because that's when I personally get on the charts. What do we have? PMI at 9 o'clock. Okay. So I'm going to start on the daily chart here. All right, this is Monday. So how did the previous week close? All right, we've expanded into a key level right here, right? So we have a weekly level right here, and then, right, we're kind of sweeping previous week low right here, right? All assets taking the lows. What's our daily look like? All right. Sweeping previous day low. So I mean, like, we don't really have any draws. We could trade lower, but this could also be a relevant low, right? It's pretty spaced away from this low, which is way down here on ES, it looks like. Or this one right here, sorry. Yeah. So I would probably be looking for price to maybe try to trade higher here. Let's see what we can. We don't really have. Okay, so if I look at this, what I see here personally, right? NQ has a gap, ES has a gap, and YM has a gap, right? But as of now, we're kind of reversing these, right? On ES and YM. Um, we do technically have, did we take this low? No. So we do technically have SMT right here, right? London and Asia puts in a divergence, right? And it is technically a PSP as well, 4 hour. Right? So if we're looking for shorts, maybe NQ, we are the weaker asset. Potentially we could trade into these lows here. Depending on how this candle closes, right, we might be able to try to trade YM higher into previous day high. Yeah, we could possibly try to trade into previous day high. So let's see, what's our 4-hour look like here? What's our 1-hour look like here? So, I mean, this is technically a 1-hour key level above as well. Right, because our day. Right, we opened low. Oh, whoops, sorry, this one. That's totally my bad. Wrong candle. I got it all fucked up. Okay. All right, yeah, so we kind of opened low, right, into previous day's low. We get a candle 2. We could be viewing this as a range to trade higher. This could be the low of the day, right? Potentially looking for YM to trade higher. So what day is this here? October 3rd, 2022. Right, so NQ to me right now is the weaker asset. We already took these highs though. We already took this high on NQ. So maybe this high on YM is what we would be looking for, right? NQ took this high. Or sorry, no, we would be looking for this high right here. Potentially, right? We've kind of already expanded on the day, so we'd have to wait for a retracement. Okay, so let's see. Get out of there. Yeah, if we fail to reverse, we could trade NQ lower. But if I'm gonna long anything, it would be YM. Right. So is low of day set. Right, do we set low of day between London and Asia? Right. Right. So I'm assuming this is low of day to trade away from, potentially up into these highs. So let's go ahead and see what we can find, right? I could almost guarantee there was an entry right here somewhere within this candle to trade higher, right? But this move's already expanded and we're already pretty expanded off the open. Maybe we get a pullback. So ideally the open pulls back for us, but let's see. Okay, so we're pulling back right here into this gap. this gap could potentially support price higher, but what time is this? 8:33. Okay, so what do we have right here on our 15? So we did come back into this 15-minute right here. We do technically form a little bit of a divergence right here. Okay. Right, so we're still stronger on YM, right? Let's go to our 1 minute. Now, what do I see here is on our divergence, we did expand away right here, right? Nice V shape, nice V shape, nice V shape right here. Let's see if 845 gives me an entry higher. It might just go without us. All right, what's our 15-minute look like here? I just kind of want to. So no one's taken these highs yet, right? So there's not really anything up here telling me that price wants to actually reverse from what I can see. Now, so now depending on how this next 3-minute closes, okay, if we get this, right, if we get that, we could potentially look for price to trade higher on the next, fuck. Don't know if I really like that, to be completely honest. Yeah, especially with no wick. All right, let's see what happens here. I don't really want to long that unless we can find some sort of solid continuations. I just don't like this wick right here. What's our 3 look like here? Yeah, that's kind of insane, to be completely honest, that it's just expanding like that. It looks like price does want to try to trade up here. It's just a matter of finding an entry, right? We're so far extended. And even if I were to say taken this closure, right, like that's a pretty big stop for just 2.3 R. So I'm fine with waiting and seeing what happens. Ideally we pull back, but it doesn't want to pull back here. That's unfortunate. So what's this 15-minute chart look like? Yeah, that's unfortunate. Maybe if we do hit this, we could look for one of these other assets to potentially short into that 4-hour devil's mark, but I think I missed the longs. So let's see what happens here, right? We'll just go ahead and see what we do. See, now this is another tempting entry right here. Let's see, 15. Nah, yeah, not very interested in that either because we're opening as a devil's mark again. All right, well, see what happens here. This is probably a trade I would have taken back in the day. I'm not going to lie. This SISD right here to these highs, you know, and try to get like a 2R out of it. but I wouldn't have taken that. Okay, so this is a new hourly. If we're going to go higher, let's see what's happening here. Okay, now we did hit this high right here. So that would be this high on NQ. Okay, what's this 5-minute look like on NQ here? If we fail to manipulate this, we might try to trade higher. See what this 3-minute does here. I'm just what's our 5 look like? Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Like price could really just rip right here. It looks like I just don't know if I would be too interested in longing all the way up here without like I guess we do have a swing point right here. What's this 1-minute look like? Maybe if I can find some sort of like 1-minute continuation, let's see. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Okay, so what's our 4-hour looking like here? All right, hourly. All right, so we do have this swing. 30-minute. Yeah. See what we do around that low. Okay, we're kind of failing right here, huh? Doesn't look like we really want to hold this gap for now. Yeah, so if we look for our we did technically break this SMT right here, right? This one right here. Not really super key, but we're kind of trading into 4-hour block as well, right? Hourly, we get a candle 2. We could potentially look for price to hold for us to go lower, right? Because we're not really reversing from this 30-minute gap, it doesn't look like, right? I just see what happens here. Okay. Time is 11:06. What's our hourly chart look like? Yeah, see, we're kind of failing to reverse right here too, but I'm not just gonna long. So let's see. $11.30. Yeah, still failing to reverse, but we are putting in a little bit of a divergence here at these lows. Right here. Maybe NQ wants to trade up into the high of the day. Not really a fan of that closure, but what's this 30-minute look like? Right, so technically we would have to wait for this 30-minute to close, right? What time is this? 11:39. So 11:30 open low into a gap. We do close over. We're pretty extended right now. What's this hourly look like? We do have hourly SMT fill. What's this 5-minute look like? I might have to see how this 5-minute closes. Yeah, I'm good on that. We might reverse here. It's just hard to really short away. Let's see. I mean, we do technically get that right. Right here. Like a two-stage little fucking... Right, and we're not really reversing. But we get a closure right here. I mean, YM would be the stronger asset in my opinion, right? And we still have this draw to take. We're very far extended on the day already, right? But how's this hourly gonna close is what I'm curious. Yeah, we're still kind of respecting that wick. So let's go ahead and wait for this next hourly candle and see what happens. This would be a tempting entry, but yeah, too bad. Do we hit the draw? Motherfucker, we do. God, NQ would have been such a good one right here, too. Would have given me 2. Yeah, that would have given me 2. Well, let's see what it had. Yeah, technically it would have. There's 2. Dang it. Alright, well, right idea. Let's see if YM hits draw. Then we can really say I had the right idea, right? Yeah, okay. So, right idea, right, this entry was right before that new hourly candle. So, right, using this low to this high. You know, that could have given it 2, right, 2.5 R right here. It lined up pretty well, right? Hourly. You know, like, don't get me wrong, there was points where I was like, maybe we could short, right? But I was kind of viewing this candle too with the big wicks on both sides, right? If we invalidated half a here, which we did, we closed over it, we could have then tried to trade higher, right? And I'm just not a fan of trading this far in the day, but hey, you know, it is what it is. As for now, all I'm really trying to learn, right? Sticking to the daily bias, because I've learned more times than not, I am right. It's just a matter of controlling risk. right? So yeah, I was picky. I was kind of being picky, and I wanted this gap to get held, or I wanted this gap to get tested, sorry. And we technically did test it on ES and YM, showing me that NQ was more than likely not going to test it to then trade higher, right? Now, does NQ get to previous day's high or not? Holy fuck. We actually do. That's crazy. Okay, well, you know, it is what it is. This is what we learn from. So overall, right, that could have been 2R all the way up anywhere to 4.4R, right? So, yeah, we move on. Let me just write this down. This one is from this low of day, so it doesn't easier. So low of day was set. Um, daily bias, one long, so right. I just hesitated on entries. Right? So daily bias correct. Entries none, but was tempted at a couple. Right, which I know I skipped them and blah 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 coulda shoulda woulda, but the 5 minute 11:55 candle, right? NQ 11 minute, and then also this YM the 11:55 as well. All right, so I mean W for waiting for a setup and W for having the right daily bias, right? So this is 2:05. It's too late in the day. Let's go ahead and go to the next. Okay. So coming into today, I don't see any high pack news shit down here, so that's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock is when I hop on my time, right? 8 o'clock. I'm Central Time, so this time's gonna be different than right. This would be 9 o'clock, but it's 8 o'clock for me, right? So daily, okay, really, I mean, it really looks like these highs want to get taken right here. That's just kind of where my eye is drawn to right here. Okay. ES took, YM took. So YM looks to be the stronger asset on the day. Okay. So Tuesday, October 4th. Let me write this down in my. Let me write this down. I write all this stuff down instead of screenshotting. Because if I just screenshot it, I don't do anything with it, right? So then this way I can at least go back and see what I was thinking coming into the day, right? Um, so October 4th, Tuesday, right? 2022. We could see that YM looks to be strongest asset. YM seems to be strongest out of triad, taking out daily highs. Right, which would have been the Wednesday, September 28th. Right. So coming into here, we really want to see what this price does because we are trading in a daily gap, right? So price could open high into this high and this gap and trade lower, maybe down into the daily open, right? Could happen. Ideally, what I would be looking for though is for YM to consolidate and NQ to potentially catch up to these highs, right? So NQ weaker, NQ weakest asset, looking to play catch up with YM if phase of price supports this theory, right? If YM just full on reverses up here and like dumps, that's where we could look for NQ to trade lower potentially, right? So it's just hard for me to want to short until we take this high on NQ. Right? Now, if YM reverses, we can look for shorts, but ideally, we would short NQ as of now due to it being weakest. Okay, that's just kind of my story off of the daily. Let's see what the 4-hour says here. All right, so this would be 1800 right here, 1800 right here, right, and then 1800 right here. Okay, this would be my relative high. All right, these would be our relative highs right here. So idea one is I really want to see if we can get NQ higher, right? If that doesn't work out, I want to see if maybe we can trade lower then, right? So I'm kind of neutral leaning, more neutral leaning, right? But we'll see what happens because like I said, I really want to see NQ take this high. And as of now, it looks like we're failing to manipulate, but is 6 a.m. is New York putting in a reversal for us to reverse and continue lower, right? Or are we going to trade higher? And as of now, to me, right, the daily didn't really open low into anything, right? Maybe if we would have hit this gap, somewhere we could say the low of the day has been set. But for me, I don't really see a low of day set, right? No real low of day slash high of day as of now, right? Because if we had a high a day, we would need an hour, at least, what would we need? Probably at least an hourly SysD. But we don't even have that, right? So, um, and it looks like we're kind of failing to reverse from this gap. But let's see if anything's happening here. What's this low? 482.75, 482, right? We flip. Okay, let's just see what happens before market open. I'm not very good with taking drivers, so I'm not going to try and take a driver, even though this does kind of look tempting. Yeah, this closure looked tempting right here, not going to lie, but I just don't trust drivers. Does this just expand higher? What time is this? This is 8:40, right? And I'm like, I really want to see NQ trade into this high, like really bad. Yeah, I think we do. I just wouldn't take a long right here, right? Okay, come on, hit that high. Okay, there we go. So the long thesis into that was correct, right? This 5 minute right here, we put in a reversal prior to open. So it just, unfortunately, I don't really trust my driver instincts yet, right? But I mean, it could have been something like that. And that was a decently small stop, right, for a 5R trade. So, okay. But now that NASDAQ took this high, there's really nothing else to target. So this is where personally we could maybe look to flip short. But I would have to I mean, unless we have weekly stuff I'm not aware of. Okay, so we took that, we took that, we took that. Trying to push higher. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't really want to take anything else. You know, maybe we could go to EQ of this weekly gap right here. But still, it's not worth it. So let's just chill on the 5 minute and see what happens at 9 o'clock. Okay, so I think we're opening high to the previous candle's high. Yep, with a devil's mark. Okay, 3 minute, what's this look like? We are getting a little bit of a expansion away right here, right? Potential CISD. I mean, that is a CISD, but potential reversal. Did we even take this high on YM? Yeah, we did. Okay. So then if we look at this hourly, it's going to be the same, and the 30 minutes going to be the same, right? Because we haven't got a swing point. So here's the 15, right? We still have gaps. Let's let this 15-minute close, and we'll go from there. What's this? 9:29. Yeah, so let's see how this 15-minute closes. Okay, so here's our new 30-minute, and then here's our new 15 as well. Man, do they really want to go higher? I just don't know what I could target higher. My trade played out, the highs played out, and we're not really reversing, right? Let's see what happens. Am I crazy for not wanting to target higher? I don't think I am, because we have another gap up here, but look at this, look at the day already, right? If anything, I think the better trade would be fading it, but okay, so we do get a little bit of a divergence right here, right? This 30-minute opened into the high of the day, right? So I know some people right here probably going to try to go long, but I don't think I would. I don't think I would. I want to see how this hourly candle closes. So this is a new hour here. Yeah, okay. Opening high. Yeah, I just can't personally long after that. That really sucks missing that move, but it's okay, right? Right thesis for NQ at least to play catch up. 30-minute. Yeah, same thing. We got a little bit of a weird. We have a little weird. Divergence up here, right? Boom, boom. Not that I try to pattern trade SMTs, but this 4-hour candle opened high without a wick, so I would ideally like to trade price lower right here now. But what time is this in the candle? This is one thing that I get a little too trigger happy with skip scrolling through price, right? And I might miss something. So what time is this? Oh, this is 10. So, yo, what the fuck? We took that high. I'm a fucking donut, dude. Okay. Yeah, so like we could possibly look to trade back down into this low right now, or even, EQ of this range. Ideally, I would probably trade into this low down here on NQ would be my target, right, to balance out this 9 o'clock devil's mark, and then uh, midpoint of this range. But I would really have to see something like, right, we open into a SMT. If we sys D up here, oh fuck, I might actually try this right here. I might actually try this. But like, yeah, we'll see how the 5-minute closes. That might save me. Oh, it makes me really want to try this. I'm not gonna lie. Higher risk because we'd be fading the 4-hour, right? And nothing else really wants to. What's the 1-minute look like here? So I think that 5-minute got that close. Yeah. I kind of want to try this. I'm not gonna lie. Right? Because if we're just gonna expand, we should just expand to EQ of this range right here. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll do half. We'll do full risk. It's fine. We're fading the 4-hour, but and then this would be 2R right here. So let's see what we do. It literally could just fucking blast me higher. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this. We're just fucking chopping away, huh? Almost got wicked out there. Let's see what we do. If we take this low, I'd probably go BE because that would be breaking this divergence here. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get this 5-minute follow through or not. Yeah, we're not really going. But maybe ES or YM has to manipulate higher for us to go lower here. I don't know. Okay, so just because we're chopping around so crazy, I'm just going to go BE right here, right? We took this low, which I don't think is a significant enough low for us to reverse from, but just in case if we do, right, these assets aren't really reversing. I would say they're more so consolidating. So I would much rather just play it safe, right? And with this price action, I wouldn't even be greedy. I would just want my 2R. So let's see what happens. And BE. Oh, you motherfuckers. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. All right, well, I waited for what I wanted to see, right? And maybe this wasn't a significant enough low, you know? But we did just chop. I can't get mad at that. Do we come down into this right here? Like, this would have been my absolute final target right there. Yeah, we do. Okay. Fuck. Well, can't get mad that I had the right idea. It sucks that I missed out on some of these longs right here and then these shorts right here. But hey, I'm just glad I'm learning my daily bias, right? And I hope this might help somebody else. I'm not a fucking professional, but this is just obviously what I've been learning myself. And I try to backtest how my mentor backtests, so we all know who my mentor is, because they're probably yours if you're watching this video too. Okay, so let me write down real fast. So I might get quiet for a second, but just let me write down my, oh, the day, right? So daily bias was correct. NQ lagging to daily highs, right? And then we also had potential shorts at daily key level, right? So correct, correct. Entry for shorts, BE, right? So, and I know I should probably be journaling these more in depth, right? But honestly, all I care about is my daily bias for this back testing, right? I have all this shit. I have all this shit right here for all my other trades, right? So, so yeah, this right here, it is what it is, right? That could have been another 2.5 hour trade. And it's 12 o'clock, way past my time to trade. So we go to the next New York session. All right. So 6:40. And like I said before, I have this in Central Time, right? Chicago time. I have this in Central Time. So this would technically be, is this news? ADP. Well, I'm not going to trade it. So like, right, 8 o'clock is normally when I'm on the screens. The market opens at 8:30 my time, which would be 9:30 New York time. So if that's a little confusing, I'm sorry, but that's just kind of what this is. And price looks like absolute fucking dog shit on this 5-minute chart. Let's see what I can break down on the daily, what I'm seeing. Okay, so, right, we have nice 2 days of expansion. So mechanically, right, we can still look for another day higher if we wanted to. Right, and especially with NQ opening up with that devil's mark, nobody taking out this previous day high right here. And just as another kind of confluence, right, we still have this little daily gap up here, right? Not thinking we trade all the way up here. I'm just posting this up so I can look and see that we have a daily high and we have a daily gap above where price could potentially draw to, right? And so this would be those highs, right? Okay, this would be these highs. Boom. All right. Now, how does our 4-hour profile fit my narrative? Here is 1800 open. Motherfucker. God fucking damn it. I hate this shit, dude. All right, this is 1800 open. This is 1800 open. All right, and then this is also 1800 open. All right. Technically it's 17, like I said. This would be 17 my time, 1700, not 1800. But just to make it easier, right, 1800 open. Now, we are opening low, right, into this. We're opening low into this gap right here. I don't know. Okay. So let me get me write down October 5th. All right, so coming into the day, right, 1800, we are technically opening low. We never really opened into anything significant higher, right? Looking at the daily chart, just if we did trade higher, right, this wick doesn't really support much of an expansion move. We could still look to trade into previous day high, right? We could look to trade into just 1800, just the daily open. I would be totally okay with trying to target those. This 4 hour, right? We don't have any gaps as for now supporting price away from these highs. So like technically, I don't think I could really look for shorts today. We do, I guess we do have this small little gap. So this could be, IRL to ERL higher. We are trading inside of this gap on ES as well, right? And on YM as well. And we are holding halfway, basically, right? We wicked it here. Oh shit, that's fucking, right? We wicked it, but we have not closed below it. So we could still technically trade higher. It might be a 10 o'clock day for me, or like a 9 o'clock day for me. Depending on, what price does down here. Right, we are putting in a little bit of a divergence here on this hourly, which could potentially be forming this wick low on this 4 hour, right? But like, what's this low? 47, 46. That's just, what's 5 minute looking like here? Let's see. Right, I don't trade before the open, but I'm also okay with trying to, okay, yeah, see, that just fucking wrecks my whole thesis right there. I mean, like, that's a big ass stop, but we do have draws up here. Just two. See, I don't know if I would take that, to be completely honest, right? Like, we are expanding away. What's this hourly look like here? We did open low. YM did sweep these lows, breaking in SMT, right? 5 minute. We do technically put in a SysD. 3 minute. Let's just see what happens here, right? Like I said, I'm just worried about getting this daily bias to trade into looking for previous day high to get traded into, right? Looking for daily open / previous day high to get tagged, right? Daily strong closure. And our 4 hour IRL ERL could play out. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really want to frame shorts this day, I don't think. See, we do have a pretty big wick right here. But like, who's stronger in the range? Like, what range would we really use? Right? Like, previous days range? Yeah, Yeah, see, YM is just way stronger off of previous day's range. Yeah, ES and YM are way stronger. So, you know, with these gaps and daily highs above right here, I'm almost tempted to try and put a positional entry in on this gap, but I'll wait for a continuation. See what happens here. Yeah, see. NQ's going lower. What's the 1 minute look like here? Okay, so we made a new low right here. Right here. Yeah, I think we really do want to try to trade higher. What time is this? 8:47. What's our 15-minute look like here? Oh yeah, let's see. So we do technically put in a divergence right here, right? Like I said, I'm not trying to pattern trade these, but I'm just trying to use them as confluence for price to go higher. What's our 30-minute look like here? Okay, right? We just kind of get a retracement and we are just expanding off of the open. How does our 3-minute look? Motherfucker. Let's see how this 3-minute closes. So this would be 8:54. So this was a new phase of price. Let's see. What's this 4-hour going to close like? Okay, so 4 hours going to close as a candle 2. I probably would not want to long NQ. If I'm going to long anything, it would be YM because we're still very strong, looking to target right these highs up here. Ideally, since we would have already moved so much on the day, ideally I would just be looking for the daily open basically, right? Coming into the hourly, right? We would also be closing as an hourly candle 2 expansion, looking for the next candle to expand higher. 30-minute. Yeah. So let's just see how this closes right here. So 4-hour. Opening low again. I'm still not like, I don't know if I really want to short, to be completely honest. Like, it's just hard for me to short today. I don't know if my, we took this right here. Fuck me. Okay, so let's see what happens here. We're just a few minutes into the 4-8, the new 4-hour. And I can't really short away from that. That's just being a fucking idiot, I feel like, right? I'm just trying to see if I missed anything that even really looked good for a short. Like I'm not gonna lie, like this gap down into these lows, like maybe, but I don't really have, for me, I don't really see the proper framework for it, honestly. How's this? All right, 9:30. So we are bouncing off of the EQ here on YM. This is kind of our last, this would basically be our last hope right here, right? For longs up into probably just the daily or the candle open high, right? So let's see what is this? 9:35. So this 30-minute, right? 30-minute is opening low into the EQ. I would have to at least see how this 15-minute candle closes and go from there, right? So okay, we're trying to expand away right here. Okay. So we do get a candle 2 off of the EQ, right? ES is testing this EQ as well. Right, we could look to potentially trade higher. It just like if we fail to reverse, maybe we could trade lower here, right? What is this? 9:45. What's this 30-minute look like though? Right, because I focus on the 15-minute, it kind of fucks me sometimes. So, okay, this 3-minute. We are getting a change in the state of delivery. What time is this? 9:45. I'm not going to try to be a hero and catch a 1-minute. Let's see what this 3-minute does here. Yeah, we're kind of failing to reverse, honestly. I just, like, I don't think I can short away from all that bullshit. Mm. 10 o'clock. Okay, what's our hourly look like here? What's our 30-minute look like here? Okay, so we do technically form gaps. You could maybe look to short NQ to previous day low. I mean, I hate shorting away from the devil marks, but like, we probably could. Right, because we don't technically have a 30-minute closure, right? So let's see what this 3-minute's doing. Okay, so 10:30, right? Let's see what this 30-minute looks like here. All right. YM is giving this C3 closure off of this EQ, right? ES is closing over this EQ. NQ is just the weaker asset, so let's see. This is 10:30 right here. What's our 1-minute look like? Oh, yeah. Let's see what this does right here. You know, this could really be stupid because we're trading into a gap, but we do have a C4 or C3 closure. We do get a continuation, right? We could potentially look to trade higher here on YM, right? We do get an expansion away. And it looks like this 30-minute candle wants to hold. This hourly candle is just going to expand higher into this high. I just don't know if I really want to take this. Expansion, consolidation. What would this look like right here? Yeah, not even like 2R. What's this daily look like? We are bouncing off that daily EQ. 4-hour, we could be trying to flip right here. I would almost probably have to target these highs right here. Right here. Right? I'd be using this 30-minute C3 closure off of the EQ. We expanded in. Hopefully we expand out. This would be my break even probably right here. I kind of have a feeling this one's going to take me out down here. Like, it's more of just a consolidation, but also viewing this as that C3 closure. C4 should just expand. What's the 30-minute look like again? Yeah, let's give it a shot. I think it's worth it. It could be worth it. Let's see. Okay, now my break even would be, there's no for me, I don't think there's really a need for a break even right here. Oh, damn. Yeah, see, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, because we were opening high, so if we were going to expand, it would just expand right away. Um, yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but I don't think we fully reverse right here. Yeah, dang, that is super unfortunate. All right, well, that's fucking, well, welcome to trading, right? Um, right idea. We just got in. Did I get in too early? I don't know. I really like that. I thought this candle was just going to expand, right? I thought this candle would just. So, tragic. Is there anything that we could have done? I mean, the only thing that we could have done right was get in down here on this 1 minute, to be completely honest, right? I mean, that's like the only thing I feel like we could have done better. But I got in here. You could have got in right here, but would you have been able to get 2R? Technically, yeah. I would not have taken that 1 minute though, but just kind of looking, right? We would have maybe wanted to wait for these lows to get taken. That's tragic, right? My entry was right there. But hey, right idea, right? Like I said, I wasn't willing to short down here. We were bouncing off this EQ, you know, like, could we have taken this down here? I don't know. Between these guys right here, we don't, or between these assets, right? We leave these lows. But to be fair, one thing I've been learning is when we get a candle 3 closure, like we did from 10 to 10:30 right here, we don't have to take these lows. Because this is just a lower, like these are lower time frame failure swings, right? But to me, when you look at this 30-minute C3 closure off of EQ, right? That's where I kind of forget about this lower time frame and I'm more worried about this because if we're going to continue from this C3 swing, I should expect price to hold above this, right? Normally this midpoint. So I shouldn't be worried about this 3-minute low resistance, right? I should be worried about this 30-minute, the higher time frame EQ, in my opinion. Okay. So that's what we took one break even. We took one break even and then one loss. And then multiple setups, maybe 2 or 3. I know 2 for a fact that I hesitated on that would have at least hit 2R, right? So we're getting somewhere. Let me write this down real quick. So sorry if I go silent, but the previous day high got tagged, or sorry, not previous day high. I'm sorry. I wanted to trade towards the previous day high, right? And this is what lined up off of the EQ. Okay. So did I have my bias right? I mean, you could have said we could have shorted here down and then longed up, but for what I wanted to see, longs into previous day high, my bias technically wasn't right, but I was still looking for longs off of this EQ, right? And my bias for this intraday trade from these lows to these highs was right, in my opinion. Now, did I just choose the wrong asset? I might have. Yeah, see, now, if I were to have taken NQ, I probably would not have got stopped out, right? Swing here. Oh, wow, yo, that's fucking, could we have at least gotten two? Yeah, we could have got two. We could have even traded up into whatever this gap is here. I don't know what this is. Oh, that's that 4 hour gap that got, that's the 4 hour gap that got invalidated, right? So we wouldn't even be looking, this would be the NQ target right here, right? And I know that's kind of hindsight at this point, but let's see what happens right here. Do we hit it? Boom, we hit it. Okay. So unfortunately, I just basically picked the wrong asset, right? I really liked this. I really liked this. Just wrong, and maybe even on this 1106, who knows? Maybe we could have longed right here and got 2R, but at this point, the day's moved so much, I would not really be too interested, but it would honestly be crazy if we trade back into the daily open. That is actually crazy. Let's see. Holy shit, is that the daily open? No, this is the daily open right here. Previous day high. Okay. Hey, I mean, shit, dude. That would have been a crazy trade right there, but even if we took, say, this closure right here, this continuation closure right here, right? Me personally, I would have used the bodies way down here. That's just kind of how I am. Boom. Like, still could have had a 2.5 hour trade, right? Would have been a little risky in my opinion because the wick and everything on the 4 hour, right? If you look at this 4 hour wick, right? That's crazy. I would never imagine a candle to go and do that. But hey, I guess that's why we have our targets and that's why we watch phase of price, right? So I'd call that a W on the day. I wanted longs and we could have potentially gotten longs. So let me write this down real fast. Right, I got stopped. Where did I get stopped out at? What time did I take this? No. I took this one right here. I took this long right here. That's absolutely diabolical, dude. And I wanted these highs right here. Right. So it was the 1033 entry. 1033 3 minute / 30 minute. Okay. All right. So yeah, so far one break even, one L, and then a few other ones we hesitated on, or I hesitated on, not we. Sorry. Okay. We'll go to 8 o'clock. Boom, boom. 8 o'clock. Let's come in at our daily right here. So we are taking previous day high. We are missing it on the S&P, and we are missing it on the Dow. Okay. What's our 4 hour look like here? Daily, we opened high into previous day high, right? NQ was the one that traded into the highs. And so far, it looks like we're actually trying to expand away. Trying, right? I don't know if we technically have confirmed it, but we're trying. All right. So now, boom, boom, right? We have a little bit of a divergence here. Okay. And then this is where we opened, right? 1800. This is where we opened. 1800, and this is where we opened on YM, 1800. This is about the only time I really use it is the 1800, right? I don't mark a bunch of other shit because then I see too many lines and it just fucking, yeah. Right, but we open into a potential divergence for us to reverse from. Just kind of want to see what this like impulse looks like right here. And I mean, technically we closed below, but we are bouncing. So if we fail to reverse at this on this 5 a.m. candle, right, or even if we kind of take these highs and reverse, we could look to trade lower. See, ES is closing through as well. And that'd be this same impulse leg right here on YM. Boom, boom. Okay. So just looking kind of at this, YM is the weaker asset. So this is what day is this? Thursday, October 6th. Okay. So coming into the day, right, we could potentially have set high of day right here. Potentially. I'm not saying 100%. I'm just, looking at what price is telling me. Right? We took out these highs. We set SMT. We kind of expand away. NQ is kind of holding this EQ, right? But YM being the weaker asset. Right? YM is being the weaker asset right here because we close so much farther below here. Now, the lowest time frame I normally try to go down on is the hourly. Hold on, go down on pause. That was uncalled for. But the hourly time frame is kind of me personally what I have what I go down to the lowest, right? Or else I just like try to find any little swing point, right? So like the 4 hour to me right here, I would basically think we're going to trade lower, right? We just closed below the CQ. We are now wicking it and coming back down. I don't necessarily have a swing point that I like on the hourly to trade lower here. The only thing I could think of now is if open manipulates for us to trade lower, right? Like this could possibly just dump, but this isn't technically like a candle two. We don't technically have a swing point. I guess we do trade into this block, but it's already been traded into before, so I wouldn't really put heavy weight on this block personally, right? So let's see what happens. Maybe the open traces into this gap up here to trade lower. Let's see. At least on YM, right? NQ could still maybe even run higher before price wants to go lower, right? I'm just kind of really looking at shorting YM down into this low, right? We expand higher. We kind of consolidate, right? We basically consolidate through this right here, these highs and lows, right? We take this low, or it's not this low, we take this low right here. You would think they try to trade higher. We failed, right? We're retracing. I would really think we trade lower. Okay, so that's 17. Okay. So let's just go ahead and see like what the 3 minute does. Right, I'm not going to I don't take anything before open, so let's see what we do here on open. Do we just dump or do we get a pump up? Okay, so we're opening. See, it looks like NQ might want to try to go higher before we go lower here, but let's see. See, and now we're damn it. I could have probably got a long on NQ here somewhere. Look at that. 5, 6. let's see, this 3 minute right here would have been the long. Damn. But I don't think that long technically would have given me what I wanted. Yeah, it would have only been 1.58, so that's fine. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so this is 9 o'clock. Now, to be completely fair, we did technically put in an SMT right here, right? But would I really say that this London session high is my key level? Like we could if I'm anticipating this to be the high day to trade away from, right? I've just been taught not to trade away from these failure swings. So let's see what this opening does here, right here. Does NQ try to trade higher or not? Or are we just going to miss these shorts? I don't know if I'd want to short this low in the range right here. But, all right, this is technically a candle to, oh, fuck me. Did we really trade into that high? Oh, we really did. I missed it. Oh, that's tough. I just don't know if I would have been able to short away from those failure highs. All right, but this could be a continuation lower. I'm not going to take it because we're so low in this range, right? I'd rather see a pullback to go lower. There we go. What time is this? 42. Okay, what's our hourly look like? I just kind of want to see. So we still are, this is technically a candle too from a gap, right? So maybe this 5 minute could set up for lower. Let's see. See, but NQ's bouncing off this fucking EQ, man. I think NQ wants to go higher. Yeah, I missed my entry. Fuck me. Unless we can get something like this. Up into these highs. Right, what time is this? 9:54. What's our 5 minute look like? So I'm gonna see how. Okay, so our 5 minute is tapping into this gap. We are invalidating. Okay, so what's our 3 minute look like here? What's our 1 minute look like here? This is where price could go lower, but it's also where NQ could trade higher. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is where we might go higher. And I mean, normally, like right, this 3 minute gap right here, you can even rewind it. I was looking for potentially that right there, right? But with this opening, see, we kind of opened high. We pulled back into this gap. What's this 5 minute look like here? Oh yeah, see, we have this 5 minute closure as well. We opened low, putting in an intracandle SysD. Let's give it a shot. I guess if this takes me out, it takes me out. We do have a divergence. This candle wick is kind of big, but like we're failing these divergences and we formed one down here. I think we can trade higher here. Let's. Is this even worth risk reward right here though? Let's see. To these highs. So I'm gonna put my stop right below the bodies this time. I normally like to use the swing personally, but just because this gives me 2R, right? And I mean, it is technically, right? We get this sys we expand away, we retrace, we kind of consolidate, retrace, we close over this 3-minute right here, right? I would be assuming that 10 o'clock is putting in the low of this 4-hour candle to then potentially trade higher. See what happens here. Oh shit. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. Damn, that sucks. Seeing I was kind of originally bearish, right? Which I just can't trade away from these failure swings, man. Yeah, that makes me think NQ wants to come back into these lows, and YM wants to maybe try to actually trade lower here. Okay, so we open up. What's this 5-minute look like here? Ooh, I don't know if I'd want to do that right here. This is where price could technically go lower. Let's see. Damn, are you serious? We just chop, okay. Dang, that's crazy. They just took me out. Alright, well, let's see. When was this entry right here? 10:15? Yeah, I kind of dropped the ball when we traded into this gap, and I did not realize that. And then we flipped a gap. Yeah. All right. Nope, that's fine. You know, I gotta learn, right? Does YM take these lows, though? Let's see. Yeah, we do. Dang it. We do. And NQ did trade back lower into this low, it looks like. Yeah. Okay, okay. We just gotta take that L. That's fine. Yeah, and I should have known that I could have traded away from this failure swing at 5 because after 9, because at 5, nope, that was earlier. We wick that. This was a little tough day for me personally. But YM lower, right? YM lower. All right, we'll go to the next. Okay, so this is 8. All right, what's our weekly look like? It's Friday, so I'll look at the weekly candle and kind of see what we're doing. We're kind of retracing off of this weekly gap. Okay, there's nothing I can really frame there. Daily. Right, so what day is this? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So potentially, right, we could have put in a reversal on Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday would have been the reversal right here. We do have a little bit of a divergence up at these highs. Right? Which I'm not just going to pattern trade that, but, and we're not really reversing from this gap either. Right, so let's take a look at our 4 hour. What can we see here? Right, we're still kind of balancing this EQ right here. Right, and our 4 hour did technically open low into this level right here. Right, so honestly, I want to say it's this low, right? Yeah, this low right here. Everything's above EQ, right? We've already opened high into something and low. We do put in a divergence right here at these highs. Could potentially look for us to trade lower. I would just kind of have to see how we react right here, right? All right, let's see what happens here. See what the open does here. You just kind of chop. What's our 15-minute look like? Yeah, so we did go from internal to external on the 15. We are just dumping, but I think I'll wait a little bit. I'll wait till 9 o'clock and see what happens. Okay, so here's 9. Yeah, so we invalidated EQ. I would be looking for us to probably trade into this range, honestly. Right, so let's see if we can find some sort of swing point to trade away from. What's our 30-minute look like here? What's our hourly look like here? Yeah, we've just expanded so much. I need to see some sort of retracement. So hopefully we can like open high and then fail and go lower. More of an open high, please. Come on. Not a big fan of that. But so we do technically get a sys-D right here. What are we looking at on this 30-minute chart? Nothing so far. We just get a 1 green bar, right? So pullback. Ideally, we trade into this gap to go lower. Whoops, I don't know why I'm marking that one. Right, ideally we trade into this gap to go lower. So let's see what this 3-minute looks like here. Okay, YM is taking that gap, right, while NQ is not. Look at this 30 here, right? So let's see. Okay, what kind of reaction we get. This is 15-minute. Okay, so we are technically even putting in a 15-minute swing on NQ right here as well. This 15-minute, we have a swing that should hopefully be protected because we have SMT divergence, SMT fill. Right now, this is only the 15, and I was framing this off of the 30. So I'm not going to put too much emphasis on that 15. I really want to watch the 30, and I really want, okay. We're getting expansion away on this 1-minute chart, right? If I'm aiming for at least a new low of day, what does that give me for risk reward? That's kind of a crazy stop, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, so let's see if I can get a continuation. Okay, so we're pulling into this gap. What time is this right here? 9:53. Okay. See, and that's why I did not want to take that. It's such a massive fucking stop. So here we go. What's this right here? 30-minute again. 30-minute SMT fill. 3-minute. Let's see how this 3-minute closes. I might be okay with taking this, but the only thing I'm not a big fan of if I mechanically want to take a short, I have to see this 5-minute closure. Well, not necessarily. Let's see. If this 5-minute flips this gap, do we have a gap to flip on the 3-minute? I'm very tempted to take this, but I want to see this get flipped, honestly. Because what time is this right here? 10:03. So what's this hourly look like to me right here? Don't know if I can. God damn it. That's tough. That is tough. Okay, let's wait and see what happens here. I kind of want to try shorts. I'm not gonna lie. Just we're very far in this range, right? Because this hourly candle opened high. We didn't take those highs, which kind of sketches me out. I'm not gonna lie. Right, we do technically have that SMT fill still, which is a 2-stage PSP as well. What's this 3-minute look like? Yeah. If it goes lower, it goes lower. Yeah, I wanted to take this closure, but something like that. Right, but low a day would have been break even, but ideally I would have wanted the, where's this 4-hour, where's that 4-hour range we're in? Yeah, down here. I doubt we trade all the way down here, but I don't know. Let's see what happens. The market's been pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, it would hit too. We could have got a good trade out of that, but I just was kind of sketched out. Once we form these equal highs up here, that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Huh. All right, well. Damn. Yeah, that just dumps right there. That's crazy. All right. That wraps up this video. Not the best performance-wise, right? Which is okay. I'm trying to learn and not get mad as I learn. Um, Successfully taken 69 trades by myself. It's a 46% win rate. Right? And we can see session analytics, right? We can see right here. Overall, my max consecutive wins 8, max consecutive losses 4. I feel like that's pretty good, right? Total winners 29, total losers 33. Yeah, whatever, right? Worst loss is 1%, which is what I risk on every trade. The best win is 2.5. Right? My average win is 1.34. My average loss is 0.71. So not quite like to R factor, right? But I'm getting close. Right? And then this is throughout the months, right? And there was some times in there, I want to say in like July, where price was a little tricky. But other than that, I feel like I did a pretty decent job, right? If I could get 5% a month, that's a good month, right? But so yeah, that's that. And I'll post this up for whoever to watch.